Hello and welcome to No Sevens Dice Club College Football Predictions Week 3. And if you notice, Week 2, we got back on that winning side and corrected at 2-6 start on Week 1. I knew we would. I knew we would correct it and fix things. But last week we went 4-1, and the only one that we lost to was Utah. And if they would have been able to punch in just an extra point, we would have won that game. You know, just crazy how much they struggled against Baylor. And Baylor didn't even have their starting quarterback. Oh, my God. You know, I know Utah's didn't have Cam Rising and a few other players, but, man, it's just, you know, I guess you got to give it to Dave Hernandez, you know, that he's still, you know, got that defensive mindset. But the question is, while I'm talking to you about Baylor, real fast, is what do you think is going to happen to Dave Hernandez? He's lost, I think, the last 5 out of 6 or 7 games, you know, including last year, of course. So it's kind of questioning, you know, what's going to happen with him, because if you remember when LSU was looking for a head coach a few years ago, after Ed Ogeron was fired, all these coaches were getting these monster contracts. Even coaches that LSU would never even look at. I think the UNLV head coach at the time got a pay raise because his daughter faxed him a pretend contract and said, "Oh, look at me, LSU's looking at me." Anyway, what I'm getting at is that Dave Hernandez got a really big contract at Baylor, and so far he's not living up to it. I really like Dave Hernandez and what he's all done for LSU and stuff, but it's going to be interesting to see, you know, is he on the hot seat if he doesn't start winning games? You know, he wasn't too far removed from having that school at a pretty good power level. It'll be interesting to see if he can keep it there or not. Okay, so that's it for last week. Let's go ahead and move it on down, and let's go over Week 2 notes. Now, give me 1 second. I got to fix the cord because I'm going to be tripping over it. All right, let's see. Hold on. I'm trying to get it all in there. I didn't. All right. Okay, here we go. All right, so Week 2 notes. Bama goes down and loses to Texas. Man, I don't know if you guys saw that game or not. Texas the whole entire week kept on saying, we're coming. And I mean, you know, and they were saying, oh, man, you know, you go into the SEC stadium. You know, you guys are going to be playing at the SEC stadium. You guys are going to lose. And I just, hey, look, you know, you got to give it to, how you say the quarterback's name, Quentin Ewers, I think is how you say it. Anyway, you got to give it to him. Quentin Ewers. He's doing a fantastic job right now with the offense and how Steve Sarkisian is working that whole entire team. Texas is a legitimate team. They're ranked number 4 this week. I think it's an overreach. I understand you go to Bama and you beat Bama. But Bama's, you know, as much as people want to hop on the bandwagon and Bama's going to win the college championship, I really don't see it this year because of the quarterback and a couple other things that's not right with that team. I just don't see them going to the national championship. I see them probably competing later on, maybe in the college football. We'll know more for the litmus test when the LSU-Bama game comes. Real quick, I didn't put it on my notes. Texas A&M, I couldn't think of the school, loses to Miami. So Jimbo Fisher's job is now in question, and he's another one, just like Dave Hernandez, that was tied into the LSU. He got a monster contract, and I like I said last year, he's a salesman. He sold them hook, line, and sinker. He took full advantage of it, and man, they're just going to have to eat that contract. And his performance dates back to what he did in Florida State, and it was a complete disaster. And the only reason why he was so successful in going to the college championship and everything else was because of Jameis Winston. Well, now look where Jameis Winston is. He's with the Saints. He's a second-string quarterback. So, And that team was on the verge of total collapse. And the head coach for Florida State, I think his name is Mike Norvell right now, totally rebuilt that squad. And as you can see, they are probably, I think, to me, the legitimate number one team, surpassing Georgia and Michigan, because they're ranked number 3. Auburn wins in Cal. They never lost a game to a Pac-12 in the last 6 games. Pretty amazing. Also, what's also really amazing, they never lost a game in California since every time they play there, they always won. Good little factoid if they ever go back. Really proud to see the SEC be represented. Even though if you watch that game in Central Standard Time, that game wrapped up at 1 o'clock in the morning. So hats off to the SEC to be represented on the West Coast. Auburn, you did a great job. I'm telling you, Hugh Freeze is a great coach. That's the one I wanted for LSU. And I've already, in the past few years, of how I felt about Hugh Freeze and the scandal of what happened at Ole Miss. So I won't go over that unless you want me to. Florida State and Colorado still looking strong. Colorado came out a little bit flat, which I kind of predicted they would look a little flat after winning against TCU. But you got to hand it to Nebraska. Nebraska has a great defense. No offense. Absolutely none. And so Deion Sanders rallied the troops again, and he made a halftime adjustments, and he came out there and put on a show for him. Florida State is still looking, like I said, still very strong. They look like an old school Alabama team is what they kind of remind me of. They just got depth upon depth upon depth. And that's, to me, that's the scariest team to face right now. I know they blew the doors off of LSU, and LSU fell 9 points. But now you're starting to realize maybe that game wasn't so bad after all. And maybe LSU probably shouldn't have fallen 9 points because, you know, they are a legitimate team. And we're going to talk more about that. That's going to lead us into week 3. So let's go over our picks. Okay, like I said, leading us into week 3 is Florida State minus 25.5. Oh, wait, real quick. I got to fix this while I'm thinking. Okay, I had to adjust the spread just came out again on Tennessee, so I had to update that because that's going to be one of our games. So Florida State is playing at Boston College. They're starting their ACC run, and this game is, I think, before the Clemson game. So is Florida State going to overlook this game? So this could be kind of a trap game, but I do like the minus 25.5. Boston College is pretty notorious for having a pretty good offense. But if you look at them lately, their offense is not as great as what it's been. And I tell you what, I compare Boston College to what Southern Miss was. And if you guys feel insulted, I'm sorry. But that's how I kind of view this game. Boston College and Southern Miss are pretty much lined up equally. And if you saw that game last week against Southern Miss, Florida State just drummed them all over the place. I think it was, they had, by the third quarter, they already had the third and fourth string players. And then by the end of the fourth quarter, they had the cheerleaders and the towel boys in there doing mop-up duty. So without all that being said, we're really going to go after Florida State minus 25.5. Keep riding that hot hand. And that is for an 11 a.m. kickoff. The next one up is an 11 a.m. kickoff, and that is LSU at Mississippi State. And if you notice that Mississippi State went over, I think they played Arizona, I think it was, or Arizona State last week. I'm sorry I don't have that information, and I'm too lazy to go look it up real quick. So we're just not even going to worry about it. They played some team over on the West Coast, and so LSU's going back. This is the first time Brian Kelly's going to experience cowbell hell, as I call it, because if you ever go to a game in Starksville and you hear all those cowbells, oh my God, bring plenty of Excedrin because your head is going to be, you're going to hear cowbells for probably the next 2 months. I hate that place because of the cowbells. So LSU's going over there. They're minus 9.5. They need this win. They need to start the SEC play with dominance and to win every game to get back into a playoff contention spot, especially now that they're playing SEC opponents and they dropped 9 spots. They really need to capitalize for this. I really like this game because it's under -10, and I think LSU, if they can play like they did against Grambling and get all their miscues out the way, and if Jaden Daniels can go back to looking like he was capable of a Heisman, I really think we have a chance. Now, don't discount Mississippi State. They're a really good team. I really would like to see this at -7, but I still feel pretty comfortable at -10. I think the defense is starting to come together, starting to gel, and like Brian Kelly said, that week 1 game against Florida State, there were 30 new Tigers in a new uniform for the first time ever playing on that field, who never played for LSU or anything like that before. So they're starting to really get a good test this week to really come together and put all the moving pieces together. I really look for LSU to bounce back. If this game is over -10 for LSU, I would fade this game. And if you want to, it's not bad to even fade the points and just go with the money line for LSU. So let's go ahead and lock it in. LSU -9.5. Okay, next up is Central Michigan at Notre Dame. Notre Dame is playing really well. They really haven't played anybody, but they're still playing pretty well. They played against the Wolfpack, North Carolina State. Did a great job against that game, even though there was a lightning delay and all sorts of craziness. It seemed to benefit Notre Dame more than it did North Carolina. I was really expecting North Carolina to put up more of a fight in that game after the lightning delay and to make some adjustments and everything else, but the adjustments were made on Notre Dame, not North Carolina, and they came out and played a solid game, and I expect the same thing against Central Michigan. The points are a little bit high, and usually Notre Dame's not favored as much. So this is going to be a little bit of a tough call. And if you want to fade this away, I really like this at -31. If possible. I don't like Notre Dame being where the Bama and Ohio State point are at -34.5. But since it is Central Michigan, and since Notre Dame is playing with great defense, and their offense is starting to really gel, I really think Notre Dame is going to do well. It's at home for Notre Dame. It's I got to fix that. I have 1:30 a.m. in the morning. It's 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. So, yeah, they're not going to be playing that late, guys. 1:30 in the afternoon. I really like Notre Dame to cover this spread. I think Central Michigan might score 7, possibility no more than 14 points, if that. So I really like Notre Dame to cover. I think the score is going to be really close. This is going to be a really close point spread. So if you want to fade it, you can. But I really think Notre Dame is going to win outright and cover the spread with this, but with a very, very small margin. So let's go ahead and lock it in. Let's take Notre Dame -34.5. All right, next up is Oklahoma. I've been riding a hot hand with Oklahoma for the past 2 weeks, really. So, and last week we took the money line. And then I can't say I've been riding a hot hand. I lost to them on week 1. Now that I'm thinking about it, to Central Arkansas, and they got the doors blown off. 77-0. So I'm trying to make up. I guess you can say I'm trying to make up my money on Oklahoma, and I made it up last week. So now I'm going to try to play with some of that Oklahoma house money and see if I can't win again. They are playing Tulsa. Tulsa is a very unique team. And what I mean by that is that you never know who's going to come out that tunnel. Tulsa of the, I'm scrappy, I'm going to fight for every yard, or is it the Tulsa where I'm just going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here and just enjoy myself. It's Saturday, what the heck? I'm going to put on ESPN Game Day and just relax. You really don't know what kind of Tulsa you're going to have. But Oklahoma, the way they're playing with poise and confidence and discipline, I really think Oklahoma is going to cover this spread. I also like the money line on this too. So if you don't like the -27.5, I think it's only 2,500 right now is the money line for Oklahoma to win outright, which is plainly obvious. But I do like Oklahoma. I think they're going to keep on rolling. And they got some competition coming up, so this might be a little bit of a trap game for them. It might not be. I think they're going to stay focused. I think they're just going to keep on rolling, and it'd be really interesting to see how Tulsa comes out this Saturday at 2:30 p.m. and play. So let's go ahead and lock in Oklahoma minus 27.5. All right, next up is Tennessee. Like I said, I had to correct this when I was talking about Florida State because it just alerted me that Tennessee, the point spread was -7, and they were going to tweak the money line, it looked like, but they kept it. They are playing Florida. Florida is 1-1. Tennessee is undefeated. Tennessee is looking really good. This is going to be kind of a rival game for them, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this goes. There's a lot of pressure on Florida to win this game with Billy Napier as the head coach of Florida. But I just think Tennessee is too much. They are ranked right next to LSU, I think. I think they're ranked number 15 or 16 in the rankings. So I expect I expect Tennessee to keep on winning and go 3-0, and I expect them to cover this game. I really like it. I think it's going to be a really close game, but I think Tennessee is going to win this game outright by 10 points. So I really feel comfortable with this being less than 7 points. So I really like this. So let's go ahead and lock in Tennessee minus 6.5 and see if they can't pull out the win down at the Swamp. Okay, so we got Tennessee minus 6.5. All right, so the last game, and that is correct. You are looking at the right time. That's Central Standard Time. So they had to play at 11 a.m. Now they're playing at 9 p.m., and that is Colorado State at Colorado. Now Colorado is starting to get some points and some love. They got a really hard schedule starting next week, if I remember correctly, when I looked at this earlier. I think it's Washington is who they're going to play next, and then after that, it's Oregon. So this is going to be their last tune-up game, really, before they really come into the competition and the meat and potatoes of what I would like to see with Colorado, and see if this is going to be a trap game or not. And I really would like to see how Colorado ranks and plays against a better opponent than what they are. So really looking forward to next week against Colorado. It'll be interesting to see what that point spread is. But right now, Colorado State is going to Colorado. So an in-house rival, big brother versus little brother pretty much. 9 p.m., Colorado's favored minus 23.5. When this spread came out on Sunday, it was minus 21. So it has moved up a little bit. This is going to be a close game as far as in the beginning, but I think Colorado is going to make the adjustments. They're going to keep on going. I always call him Shredder Sanders because he shreds the offense, and the defense. He's just racking up yards and touchdowns, and he's shredding that defense. So that's the reason why I call him the Shredder. And I think Colorado is going to pull this off. I think it's going to be another pretty much lopsided victory at the end. Colorado is going to get rolling, and definitely in the third and fourth quarter. So I like to see them. I think Colorado is going to win this by 30 points. So I'm going to take Colorado minus 23.5. Okay, so we're going to go over our big parlay. I did an 18 team. Make sure this doesn't sound like 18. An 8-team parlay last week, and I hit it. I won a whole bunch of money, but I'm not here to brag about how much money I won or anything else, because I'm not about that, guys. I'm just all about having fun and hanging out with you guys, and trying to make us all a little bit of money. So trying to get that spotlight out there. Okay, so what we have is the big parlay. So Bama is the money line. Florida State minus 25.5. Really like that. Notre Dame minus 34.5. Georgia money line. Oklahoma, Iowa, Ohio State, and Tennessee. That's my big parlay. And also, what I also like is what I might do is I might take Bama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Iowa, Ohio State, Tennessee money line, all money lines. And what I'll probably do is I'll probably sprinkle, I'll probably just make it an all money par line. I'll probably put Colorado money line. I probably will put the Oklahoma money line. I already had the money line on there, so I can't do that one. And then I'll probably do Florida State money line, and just make it an all money line parlay. Throw $5 on there, enough to pay for like a little bit of a pizza slice or a cold brewski, and go from there. But also, I didn't show you guys this. Excuse me, real quick. We are 6-7, so we're almost tied up. We're climbing back up there, so hopefully for another good week. No Sevens is putting himself a little bit more at risk, because I only like to do about 4 or 5 games, and this week we have 6 games. So let's see how we do, and good luck to everybody out there on your sports bets, and I will see you next week. And I have a video coming out. I'm almost finished with the Black Series on the 6 and 8, and I should be wrapping that up sometime this week. Got a whole bunch of video edits to take care of, so I am a little bit behind on schedule, but I promise that is a priority to get that done this week before Saturday. So good luck with your sports betting. Remember to bet smart and don't overbet, and good luck, guys. See you next week.